everybody, welcome. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the May 12th, 2022 regular board meeting.
I'll make that motion.
It's moved and supported that we approve the minutes from the May 12th, 2022 regular board meeting. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Being none, carried. You've received your treasurer's report. Any comments, questions, concerns? If not, place them on file, please. We don't have any minutes from the planning commission. Was there an appeal that we don't have any? There was no appeal. Okay. Anyone with anything to bring before the board at this time, other than agenda items? Okay, County Commissioner, welcome.
Welcome back to your meeting room.
It's cozy, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is a change of venue from where we've been. All right, I'll make this short and sweet. We met on the 17th of last month. The first week last month was for in honor of corrections officers. I understand President Reagan put that in play many years ago, obviously. And the corrections officers we got with Lieutenant Benicki did a fantastic job over there. Every time they get inspected by the state, it's one of the cleanest in the state. It's well run and they do a great job. Also, Police Week is May 15th. That's behind us now, obviously, but the deputies and what they've had to go through in the last couple of years has not been fun, and they do a great job as well. Deputy Gillespie was also honored for a life-saving award. Last year there was an incident there at the Munson Hospital, and he was able to talk somebody down from carrying out anything further with somebody actually getting hurt, and the person actually came back in to the sheriff's department the following week after that and thanked the sheriff and the deputy for the work that they did, making sure it didn't get escalated beyond where it could. So that's something that is of note for sure. Central Wellness, you've heard me mention before, there's 2 slots been available for at least 3 months. This will be the 4th month for sure. I think the sheriff is probably going to fill one of those for a secondary, and the way we can make that happen is if the county administrator or myself sign off on the contract as opposed to the sheriff, so a secondary user. So we're still looking for a primary user to fill an empty board seat, and that's been going on for quite some time. So we're trying to recruit. Summer taxes, the board gave me approval to sign off on the L4029s for the summer tax rolls. Pat Bentley, we're going to do the surveys. We got 10 corners we're going to do this year again. That's been ongoing and will go on for decades. Gary Schwager gave us his annual report for the Drain Commission. There's 3 drains have been abandoned, and the next one he's looking at is the Mud Lake in Norman Township. And Gary's doing a good job with that, and most of those drains were put in place in the early 1900s, and it was either to drain ground for agriculture use or some, cutting trees, forestry. And hardly any of them have ever been maintained. So they basically aren't doing much of anything. Let's see here, we updated the soil erosion and sediment control ordinance. And that needed to be done for a while, and a lot of things have changed over the last 40 years. I think, Mike, you'd agree with that. I think is what fueled this. We also changed the soil erosion fee and updated it for the permits. The veterans, Eric Sullivan has stepped down from his position as the primary veteran counselor. And so he has moved on, stepping away from that. He's got ongoing issues physically, and done a great job, and they've been doing it's been nice to move them down into the West Shore building down on River Street. That's been working out well for them. But Eric's done a great job over his tenure, and Tony Covell, who was the part-time veterans counselor, he's going to probably be stepping up into fill that position. So that's ongoing. Regional Summit is this September 29th, and it's going to be held at the Wagner Center, so the old St. Mary's. We passed a resolution 2022-07 for Mental Health Awareness Month. And as I'm sure everyone in the room is well aware, Jill Novak, the county clerk, is retired after many, many years. And also Marilyn Brzezinski is retired. I think Marilyn was there 16. I think Jill might have been there around 22 if I'm not mistaken. But both did their job very well. Worked quite closely at times with Jill over the years, and going to be hard to replace, but they both did a good job on behalf of the county. What else can I tell you here? I do have a rail relocation. I signed a contract with Fishbeck for an environmental impact study, and we're trying to pursue that to find out if there's anything to stop it from happening. Let's put it that way, from an environmental impact standpoint. We'll see where that goes. I've got my first meeting's coming up Monday on that. Last week I was invited to a roundtable with Congressman Mullenhour and also State Senator Bumstead, and that went well as well. I guess that's probably about all I got for you folks. Do you have any questions? I do have one other thing, and that is I let Dennis know, I've been in contact with invasive species about Bar Lake, and when it gets a little closer, they're going to be down sometime this summer. They were here last fall when they were in the area, and Fields Ratliff is no longer with that program. So we're going to get Bar Lake looked at again and possibly get it treated for phragmites. So if that happens, as I put out in the email, I'll have to call a meeting of the board, and again, we only have 4 members of the 5. So.
Jeff, there was a balance.
There is a balance, and that's one of the things that allows it to happen. I mean, I don't see
And I
what's happening.
suggested to you via text today, I believe,
Danny,
that someone had reported that there was some spraying being done. I'm presuming it's private owners.
that would be my assumption as well, and I haven't heard anything in regard to that. And if invasive species control does it, they've got to get a mailing out to everybody around the lake. So at that time, if there's something there, I'm sure that will come up.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Bless you.
Thank you.
Karen, anything going on in your office?
My report is short as well. There were no new complaints. The 2 junk and blight complaints, property owners are working on cleaning that up. There were 8 zoning permits issued and 13 requests for construction permits. Land use permit application and site plan for the Manistee County Medical Care Facility has been approved for the 17,300 square foot addition. There you go.
That's it? Any questions? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Our new fire chief, I'd like to introduce our new fire chief, Joe Circa. Joe, do you have a report for us?
Yeah. For the month of May, we've had 9 fires and 10 medicals. We also did 3 meetings. We skipped the holiday so people can spend more time with their family. Apparatuses, we're still looking at replacing our rescue truck. We're still getting the information together. And I'm looking into doing DOT inspections on the truck. The station, we're keeping clean, and we've received some new equipment in the meeting room from the Firefighter Association for training purposes, because we have the academy at our training facility there. Equipment, forcible entry door is ordered. We'll be receiving that in August. Compressor, we haven't ordered it yet, and I haven't heard if we're agreeing to the maintenance agreement for that. 20-foot Canex box we're getting from the Firemen's Association for storage, for equipment for the training facility. Cycle 2 grant up here for, like casino and stuff, for the casino. We're looking at wildland gear for the personnel. It's supposed to be wildland gear and extrication gear. And some tools for structural firefighting to put in for. We're still actively recruiting. Can't give enough names to the personnel we do have. And I talked to Diane about purchasing a new tower computer for the department because our old one, we can't do reports at the department. I don't know why, it's just not working. And we still postpone the captain for fire position till a later date. And that's all I got for you guys, thank you.
You've secured a bid for the DOT inspections, correct?
Yes. Yes, it's $96 per truck.
That's pretty reasonable. Okay, any questions for him? If not, Joe, make sure you tell everybody our thanks for everything you do over there. I know you're short-staffed, but I do what I can do. And we appreciate it very much.
And I just had a new applicant actually call me and fill out application on Monday.
Oh, did you? Good. Rick Klaus is unavailable this evening, our liquor inspector, and he's given me a note for the month of May. There's nothing to report. So, that's, liquor's running smoothly. Pardon me? As far as township updates, trash day went well. I don't, what was the count? Do you remember just
10
offhand?
containers total. In other words, there would have been 8 for trash and 1.5 for
Recycle,
for the metal.
Yeah.
Plus, we had the electronics trailer that hauled away quite a bit.
Yeah, that was a pretty good sized trailer that collected anything with a cord on it.
He was happy.
He was,
Yeah.
yeah. But I'd like to thank Troop 167, the members of the Boy Scout troop that was there to help us, as well as the volunteers that came forth to give us a hand. It went very smoothly, and hopefully we can have it again next year. Save your stuff for next year. Bar Lake Road, we have an issue with Bar Lake Road. With a heavy rain event, we have water going over the road. We've been in contact with the road commission. They're gonna do some ditching and cleaning of a culvert that's in that area, but it's, for now, it's a major reconstruction of the road at that point. And so if you're driving on Bar Lake Road, north or south, in a heavy rain event, please use caution, because there is water crossing the road. We have a notice from the MDOT about the US 31, what do they call it, Bascule Bridge?
Bascule Bridge, that's just the type of bridge it is. It's not the, it's still the 31
US
bridge.
31 bridge. There's gonna be work on the bridge deck, and that started June 6th. Likely going to be 2 days, and we'll have intermittent lane closures, and maybe both lanes, creating some traffic backups, so be careful when you go through that area. I've been in contact with Joan Mavrich from Charter Spectrum, and about the work that's being done in Manistee County. There is a lot of work being done because of the Rural Digital Opportunity Fund that's available. I do have some information here on a website that you can go to enter your address, and that will tell you if they're headed your way. So No, you don't need to bother.
It's not going your way.
It's not going money.
Well, I don't know, but I mean, we have a lot of calls because there is a lot of work being done, there's a lot of fiber being run. And the simplest way is to get on this website and you can find out if the construction's going your way. Anybody that checks into our website, please be patient, we're redoing the website. It's coming along very nicely and I think you'll be pleased when it's finished. Anything else we need to mention? Okay, is Renee Mallison here, Manistee Conservation District? Yes, ma'am.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good, how are you? Just here for a short update today, and I brought you some information. First, I was gonna go through some of the bigger events that everyone seems to really like to attend, and the first one that's coming up is in July, and that's the Nitrate testing that will be at our office from 9 to 4, and there's no cost. We'll have information on the website about how you need to collect your water sample, etc. And for those who aren't sure what nitrites are, it's from the fertilizers and stuff that get into the water. So we're gonna test for that. Then after that, on July 23rd, the county and Sarah Archer for many years have done the scrap tire event, and after Sarah left, we asked if possibly maybe we could get that, and the county agreed, and so we've got that now, and the grant it's all going to be the same exact way that Sarah ran it. We're just going to follow that same pattern. It's $2 a tire, up to 10 tires per vehicle, and that's on July 23rd. From 9 to noon. That is also on our website if you need to re-reference that. Household hazardous waste, that's August 20th, 9 to 1. There have been many discussions over the last 6 months about the issues with household hazardous waste and the continuing rising costs. So one thing that happened was Networks Northwest got involved, and they invited just a whole slew of people from the Northwest region. And we're currently talking about trying to gather as a group and get a contracted price. So that's happening. And then the 3-county committee for HHW, which is Oceana, Mason, and Manistee, because we all work together. We tried to break it up to get a cheaper price, meaning we all 3 have it on Saturday, and way back when this started, they got a discount for that. Well, now there's a penalty for that. And we couldn't switch our day because we do it at the road commission, so, because they're working. So we can't come on a Friday or Thursday night, like we wouldn't be able to get in there in an appropriate time frame and get out. So the Saturday, we have not found a solution for that. If anyone has any ideas of where you think it could or should go, I just flat told them, no, we can't get in there, you know, other than on a Saturday for that many hours, so that would have helped some, but we're still working on that. You had brought up ISN, and Audrey Meninga, the new ISN coordinator, and I were talking about the state game area, and we were working on a grant to try and get some funding to get more of the invasives out. I don't know if that grant is going to be able to move forward or not, but they're looking at doing that and, you know, doing the invasive species removal. So that's on everyone's list, and we have boot brush stations that we are looking for a place to put them. If anyone knows of a spot that doesn't have a boot brush station where it would stop the spread of invasive species, you know, that's you clean your boots off before you go hiking somewhere else. It wouldn't cost anything, we would put it in. There's several around the county, but we're looking for more sites. We have like 4 or 5 stations that we could install. So if anyone knows of anything, just reach out to myself or just call the district number. I brought you guys the 2020 annual report, just so you would have that information and see what we were working on. There is an HHW brochure over there as well. And then the partnership guidance that you guys have, I didn't put it out for everyone else, but we're trying to talk to all of the possible partners that we might have and just give them the guidance document. Most recently, with the addition of Chelsea Cooper and the water quality focus, we've had a lot of people who want to partner because there's so much need for that. The problem is we start our scheduling up to a year prior to that. So if we write a grant and we get a grant, we've already locked in this much time with this person. So then come June, when the lake association call and say, hey, can we do this event, can we do that event? We've already got that booked. So we're just asking that, hey, if you want to partner with us, just let us know as soon as you know so that we can get right on board and start looking at technician time and availability and be prepared. So that's what the guidance document is for. And I don't know if everyone is aware or not, but the Conservation District will be on the August 2nd ballot. And we will be asking for a renewal plus addition. I brought some information that kind of explains why we're asking for it and all of the detailed information, but you're always welcome to call and talk to one of us in person. And that's all I had.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Renee,
Yeah.
I missed the July date for the water samples.
Sure. July 20th from 9 to 4 at the MCD office.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
One more question, right? Invasive species.
I thought you were going to do HHW again like last year.
Invasive species, bamboo. How many treatments does it take normally, typically, to get rid of, kill this bamboo?
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of the name.
Japanese knotweed.
Yeah, that's it. Japanese knotweed.
Yeah.
I don't have that background. I think it's a couple. I think it's more than one, but I don't want to speak.
Well, the reason I asked, for several years, it's been sprayed, treated on Veterans Drive.
Yeah, it looks a lot better.
Yeah, but it's coming up, it's flourishing again. The point I'm trying to make is it's not taken care of and it's been treated for several years.
Do you know how, I'm gonna have to get Dr. Shields involved in that chemical question to get back to you on it, but how many times has it been treated, do you know?
Probably 6.
6 years?
John, to answer your question, John, according to Mark Barbera, who many in this room know, because that was his game, that's what he did, was Roundup salesman, is if you spray that stuff when it's blossoming, and it's in bloom for a couple of weeks, and you hit it with glycosyphate, which is what Roundup is, or the generic glycosyphate, a little heavier dose, it will, I can tell you the stuff I had going over into the swamp on our property off of Bradford, I took it out within 3 years, hitting it at that specific time frame.
Well, my guess is this was a non-toxic, organic type something.
What I would tell you is that it's sprayed in a timely manner that works for them as opposed to the optimum time of when to spray. And I've had that conversation with Fields for the last 3-4 years.
Because they cover 4 counties. So, yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
Okay, well, I'm just wondering,
It says 3 to 4 seasons.
Josh has an experiment going with autumn olive and several different over-the-counter chemicals, and Roundup was one of them. He has multiple experimental sites. So I know that Japanese knotweed is different, but would you like me to have Josh follow up and give you any information?
no, that's all right. I just
I think
thought,
Josh's right.
yeah. And you mentioned autumn olive a few years ago out at your office. I don't even know if you were there yet. on one side, we had treatment to get rid of it,
We'll have to find
and on the other side of the office, we're selling it.
Who was selling, are you talking like 25 years ago?
No, we're talking 3, 4, 5 years ago.
No, I've been there for like 7 years. We
Is
would
that
never
correct,
have
Jeff?
sold Autumn It's been like 10, 20 years.
Okay.
You know, you get some if you want some.
USDA is paying people to get it removed now, DNR, and, had them put it in 20 years ago by the thousands. And what we tell people when they come in and think we're DNR, and they're very upset with us about the autumn olive, is they didn't know back then that it was bad to plant non-natives. And over the years, we now know that anything that's not native can become invasive and cause problems, so.
I'll zip it up. Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you for your time. Yarrow, are you here?
I am.
Okay, Housing North, please.
Thanks for having me. My name's Yarrow Brown and I'm the Executive Director of Housing North. I think you received a proposal that I sent last month, so I'm here to talk about that proposal. I also wanted to let you know that Mike is here and Jeff. They're part of a housing action team that we recently formed in Manistee County to help address the housing needs and goals in the county. So just a little background on Housing North. We were formed in 2018. We came out of a partnership with Networks Northwest, the Fry Foundation and Rotary Charities of Traverse City, who are our main funders right now, to specifically focus on housing and addressing the barriers to housing in our 10-county region, including Manistee County. So the proposal in front of you is requesting support for a technical support position, where we hope to bring a technical support position to your county to be able to address housing over 3 years. We have support from the county, the city of Manistee, and just recently Filer Township as well, and other partners include United Way and the Manistee Community Foundation, as well as the Manistee Housing Commission. So we are hoping to bring this service to your community. This would be a position in your county. We are a regional organization, but this person will be placed in your county. We're really just the fiduciary, and this person would work with the housing action team and help address as many of the goals and needs of housing to remove those barriers and ultimately bring more housing. We don't actually build the housing at Housing North, but this position would really be helping to pull together projects and help with the community, each of the communities that are in Manistee County, and to work with them to become what we call more housing ready, or address sort of the barriers in that community for housing and create partnerships and bring more capacity. So happy to answer any questions. I don't know if Mike or Jeff want to speak at all. They've really been with me for the last couple years, and this all kind of came out of the Rising Tide program years ago, before I started. And we have a housing action plan for the city of Manistee that is driving this work.
So I'll say a little something. I think that with Yarrow in this position, there's definitely a need if you talk to residents, especially younger residents in business in the area. They're unable to find, they're able to hire qualified people, but then when it comes to housing those people, they can't find them. I think that they can't find housing. And so one of these things is, this position is kind of wide open right now. There's not really a, we have goals obviously to provide additional housing, but as far as like what that work plan looks like, it hasn't been laid out yet completely. We have a pretty good idea of what we want on it, but as part of that conversation, we'd like to also invite you guys to take part in the HAG and kind of help steer that conversation. I know there's a lot of community members in that are influential and in trying to, from different sectors that are trying to come in and try to guide this position. We have a desperate need, as well as the region as a whole. You can see that consistently, when you look at like Governor Whitmer's, her housing plan that for the Northwest Michigan, as well as the state as a whole. So it's, housing is a national issue, but we also need to try to address it locally. So with that, I hope you guys do support this position.
Dylan, I got a question for you. One of the factories in town, I can't think of which one, recently brought some engineers in, if I'm not mistaken. And they all could not find a house, and an engineer is not a low-paid position by any stretch of the imagination. They couldn't find anything reasonably acceptable. Now, don't ask me, John, to define what's reasonably acceptable. But, you know, again, those are not low paid positions. And when we don't have those jobs spreading that income within the boundaries of the county, and we're not gonna capture all of it, obviously, but when it leaves, it's not changing hands inside the county, which is good for everybody. And that, again, as I always like to say, if it doesn't hit your bubble, it's not an issue. And I'm telling you, I've been hearing this since I've been back on the county commission for over 7 years now. And it's, anybody who comes into the community, it's a bugger. And we had a meeting with Dennis a few months ago. He said he's been experiencing it with one of his daughters, and at any rate, it is a problem. There's no question it's a problem. And again, you're gonna have people that have, regardless, it could be an engineer, that's a high income job. It could be somebody working as a waitress at the Blue Fish that's actually doing probably a lot better than what you would ever guess. But again, it's where are we gonna have these houses or have a living space for people? The other thing we've got is the short-term rentals that have been gobbling up a number of our residents. Now, what the number is on that, I can't give you that, maybe Yarrow can.
Not specifically, we will know in a couple months after we track it more.
But that's a major problem throughout the entire region as well, you know, but.
Yeah, and I should say, you know, this position would really help to meet the community's goals and needs, not try to come in and say, this is what we think you should do. You know, that's why we're working through the local housing groups and really trying to work with the community for, you know, we're not saying you should put multi-unit apartments everywhere, but there are lots of options to create density in smaller ways or to create more housing opportunities that, you know, don't involve, you know, significant apartment complexes where it wouldn't make sense. You know, it would also help with expanding some of the infrastructure opportunities or looking for funding that would make connections with, you know, thinking about community development as a whole. So there's a lot of opportunity with this position. Again, they would focus on all things housing and really be that collaborator and partner in your community. So if you have questions about the process, you know, moving forward or what any other information you would need to consider this, please let me know. And like Mike said, anyone from the township who wanted to participate in the housing action team, we welcome that. Right now we meet, what is it? It was today at 1, so the second Thursday of the month at 1. We've been doing it via Zoom, and Bill from the city and Rose are the chair, but Housing North will still help keep that going and be part of those conversations.
If I can be so blunt, it sounds like you have most of the information that you need to go forward with this. Because if this is for another study, you don't have my support.
No, we're not, this I would not support another study.
We have more studies that's sitting on a shelf somewhere that,
This would be
maybe not for this particular, but.
Yeah, I think the goal would be to take the housing action plan from the city and expand that, you know, to the full county and actually address the action items in that plan, which has been sitting on a shelf for a few years. Not that the community hasn't been, you know, making small changes towards that, but I think this position would really help address the action steps for some solutions moving forward.
So let me give you a quick scenario. Let's say we have a developer that wants to come into this community and he wants to build a 30-unit single family, single story duplexes, triplexes, but he needs help. How can you help that individual?
This person would start by meeting with them and figuring out where that opportunity would be, and then help to work with them to basically bring that project to fruition.
One of the action items within the plan of the Rising Tide is to find funding vehicles for developers as well. Now, whether that's tax incentive based on a local level, or if it's on a state level, that is one of the action items that this person is going to directly look at. So when you say, how are they going to help them? Well, they're going to look to, and with Yarl's position as a regional entity, she has a lot more access than we do have at like a local level to get to state governors. Right, it's the state senators, congressmen, and the governor herself, where we just usually don't have access on that level. So with the governor making a priority, there's going to be other funding vehicles. So Yarl more than likely will hear about them before we do, especially being a housing-oriented entity, and then can get us the funding vehicles that help to these local developers to try to incentivize these housing for them. So I think that's where you're going with it.
Right, yeah.
So that would be one of the major goals of this position, is to find those funding vehicles for development within these communities.
And identifying locations for housing development, you know. For sake of discussion, today's meeting came up, Bear Lake School District has some vacant property out there in the township, and possibly that could be something that could evolve into something. Yeah, we talk about the old Kennedy School, could be a prime location for development of sorts, you know.
Looking at redevelopment opportunities as well, you know, there are some programs we're developing in our other communities that we could bring to here, like an accessory dwelling unit program, or incentives that would just help people even create another place for somebody to live on their own existing property. So we feel like there's a lot of opportunity, and having this position will allow those resources when they come to be probably deployed more easily. Even through the county land bank, you have a land bank and a lot of tools that already exist, and this person could help, I would say, get developers or facilitate those relationships to use the existing tools that you have. So thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you. I know you've got to travel, so. Questions?
I don't have it in front of me now, but I was reading what was in my box the other day.
This contract, is those?
Maybe $15,000. Did I see on there?
3-year commitment.
Pardon?
A 3-year commitment.
Yeah,
5 years.
yeah, for,
That's your answer?
well, yeah, I was reading it and I was just wondering where the $15,000 goes.
So it would be,
Okay.
yeah, it would be a contract for services to bring those services essentially to your township. And there's a scope of work in that contract, so that is how we're able to, that's what we're negotiating with the other units of government. So this person would ultimately be, we would be meeting the goals addressed in that contract. If that makes sense, for your township. So what is in front of you is a contract for services to help work on your housing goals and needs for your township.
You have a question, I can tell. Well, thank you. Do you want to act on it, or do you want to do some more research, or what's your wishes? Speak up. Pardon me?
I'm not ready to act on it today. I'm not saying that we won't act, that we don't act on it. I think we need to just bring it to the next meeting if possible. I have some things I want to research and look through, and I don't know how anybody else feels.
We're in the middle of our budget process, so now's a good time to do that.
What does the time frame do for you? I mean, are you, of course, you'd like to have an answer right now, but
We can wait and
do you have a
time.
person already in mind?
No, we are waiting to secure the funding gap, and then we'll start advertising. We will likely put it out, towards the end of this month or early July. But we do want to get, put the information out there and try to start recruiting as soon as possible. But we can wait for your decision, and I think that makes sense.
Don't say that.
Sooner is better than later.
Sooner is
guys.
better, but if you want a month to think about it, I think that it's reasonable.
That's fair. Anything else? No more questions? Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Anything else we need to address? We need to pay the bills.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills as presented and along with the incoming bills for the balance of the month.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Been moved and supported that we pay the bills from May 1 to May 31 along with incoming bills 2022. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Being none, carried. Manistee County MTA will meet on Wednesday, June 22nd in the Cleon Township Hall at 7 p.m. The Zoning Board of Appeals, do you have one at this time?
Not at this time.
Not at this time, but if you have one, it'll be July 5th, 6 p.m. here at the Township Hall. The Planning Commission, Manistee Township Planning Commission will meet Wednesday, July 6th at 9 a.m. here at the hall. Manistee Township Board Review will meet for errors and omissions on July 19th, 2022 at 6 p.m. here at the Manistee Township Hall. The next regular board meeting of the Manistee Township Board will be July 7th, 2022, 7 p.m. here at the hall. Anything else? If nothing else, motion's in order.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
A second.
Been moved, supported, we adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Being none, carried. Thank you very much for your time.